I've wrestled with more than anything else over the last 36 hours one fundamental question. Why is the man who killed George Floyd not in jail? If you had done it, or I had done it, we would be behind bars right now. And I cannot come up with a good answer to that question. And so I'm calling on Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman to act on the evidence before him. I'm calling on him to charge the arresting officer in this case.
That's the mayor of Minneapolis calling for charges against the arresting officer involved in the death of George Floyd, an unarmed black man who died in the custody of police as captured on terrible video. 4 officers involved in Floyd's detainment now have been fired. On Monday, video showed George Floyd pleading with police officers while one officer pressed his knee into Floyd's neck for about 8 minutes. He later was pronounced dead at a local hospital. Initially, police said Floyd had, quote, physically resisted officers after they responded to a reported forgery in progress. But new video appears to show the moments before Floyd's death. Officers removed him from a parked car and handcuffed him before leading him across the street. Joining us now from Minneapolis, NBC News correspondent Gabe Gutierrez, where protests overnight have turned violent. Gabe, what more can you tell us about what's happening on the ground there behind you? Extraordinary pictures, and whether there will be charges brought against at least the one officer.
Hi there, Willie. Good morning. It is an extremely chaotic scene here. We're seeing dawn right now, and parts of Minneapolis are still on fire. You can see behind me billowing smoke. This is a construction site that is on fire right now. Several buildings in this area have been burning for several hours. If we walk over here, we can see, looking in that direction, there's a Cub Foods store. That part of that also burned down. If my cameraman Bill Angelucci can pan over here, these are officers in riot gear that have been trying to keep the peace all evening. Now, just a short time ago, Minneapolis police said that what started out as a peaceful protest late yesterday afternoon turned violent. The previous night, there were about 8,000 protesters here in Minneapolis, furious over the death of 46-year-old George Floyd. But last night, no word on exactly how many people showed up, but at one point throughout the night they started tossing projectiles at officers. Officers moved out to try and clear the crowd, but as you can see behind me, it definitely got violent. There's a burnt car over there. Several buildings are still burning even at this hour. The question right now that many of the protesters are asking is when or if charges will be brought against the officers involved in this case. The mayor yesterday came out and took the rare step of calling for the arresting officer to be charged. So right now there is certainly a lot of anger here. Again, police trying to keep the peace and urging protesters to stay calm. Willie?
Gabe, obviously it's early morning there now. A lot of the violence we saw took place overnight, those confrontations with the police. Do they expect another day of confrontation with protesters there? Or do they feel like things have calmed a bit?
That is certainly the question, and we should point out, Willie, that many of the protesters that are angry over this death did remain peaceful. They will tell you that some of the demonstrators decided to turn violent, but for the most part, the vast majority were peaceful protesters. But as you can see, this is the result. We do expect more protests today. The question of whether any more of them will turn violent. There are just still so many questions about what happened here and what so you can see here, there are certain people that are still here, even at this early hour here. It is Central Time, just after 6 o'clock. It is dawn, and there are people here that have been here all night. So the question remains, Willie, will the county attorney here, will he bring any charges? The investigation is still ongoing. Many people are asking for the body camera video in this incident to be released. You mentioned at the start of this segment that the initial viral video, that's what got everyone's attention. We've seen now surveillance video as well as a bystander video from other angles, but we have yet to see the body camera video from those 4 officers. Many of these protesters are asking for it to be released so we can see in more detail what led up to this confrontation.
George Floyd lost his life over an alleged forgery. And now this. Gabe Gutierrez in Minneapolis for us this morning. Thanks so much. We'll be right back on Morning Joe.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.